daily update like life itself. It comes at you daily. Let's Play podcast. So good morning to you. So I spent some time yesterday doing this, that, and the other. Not necessarily in that order, though. I did get out to the Dome Factory, my third or fourth name for the covered car park next door to the coop here, and cut my first hole in the nested box, which is a heavily laminated box with metal corners, metal handles. The box cutter did the trick, but I wanted to keep the top one piece, and I noticed my circumference of the styrofoam dome I was going to use came right up to the edge, so I had to kind of square off those two sides of the dome. So it wasn't a perfect circle. That was something I hadn't anticipated. You really want your dome to fit comfortably within the lid. So you could, you've got some one piece. Otherwise, I would have had two pieces. It wouldn't have looked as good. So I first tried the translucent dome, as I talked about, the Walmart punch bag, as I called it yesterday, or punch ball, punch bowl. It was one of those. And it immediately highlighted a problem I had once I've got the hole cut. I used a box cutter, which worked fine, which was good, because I really didn't want to try any of my other techniques that I had talked about yesterday. But the initial well-like structure, putting the one of the small toy projectors down on the bottom of the box gave that well approach, as we've seen in so many small planetariums, where, what is it called, the spring line? The light source, the star source, was well below the spring line, so it didn't look that good. So now I've got to come up with something to raise it up so that it's on the spring line, but then that brings into effect the very real possibility that your star ball is way too big for your dome. And that's something I hadn't been thinking of. I really, to be scale. Now, if you just want projected stuff on your little dome, it doesn't matter. But if you're looking for some kind of realistic looking model, then it suddenly didn't look as realistic, because you're talking about making, putting chairs in there and small glowing lights and a cove, doing a complete model. Then you can't have a giant hemisphere right at floor level. Speaking of floors, though, you can take the cutout circle that don't discard that. Oh no, that will fit in your box. So that can actually be the floor of the planetarium itself. So all you need is some kind of support mechanism from underneath. And I'm thinking now maybe I can cut out struts from some of my famous plastic hangers, of which I've only used a fraction, and actually build little legs for that underneath floor to stand on, to raise the tiny projector up so that it is more or less on the spring line. So the actual effect wasn't quite as startling as I thought in the dark. There's a lot of light leakage. I think I'm going to do better with the solid domes rather than the stars shining through, because you don't see, in a mist, in a fog machine maybe, you'd see just the stars, but otherwise maybe a frosted, semi-translucent dome would be better. But when it's clear, like those punch bowls are, there's a lot of ambient light, and the whole effect is kind of diluted, might be the right word. So, and this was all in about a half an hour's worth of research. I'm just doing raw research here, trying to think of how I can do this. So I've only used one matching so far. I have not yet spray painted the dome. I guess today I'm going to have to actually cut the pie shape or tilt. I can still tilt it and try that. I'm looking at dumbbell shaped toy projectors, tiny projectors, wondering if I can convert something like that. And you know what works best for those are the old-time baby rattles. Now, you may think that's funny. I can play with them on the side too. There's nobody here to stop me. But a rattle, I could pretend like maybe that would scare the squirrels hiding up in my attic. I've been trying to get squirrels out with my owl and stuff, trying to scare them, pounding on the walls. There's a couple squirrels living up there. I stopped putting out bird seed. That didn't work. Maybe if I shake a rattle, that would scare the crap out. I don't know. What do I look like, a wildlife expert? So anyway, I can't trap them out, and my wife said, "Oh, fumigate them." I don't want to fumigate myself. So that's a side. I've got issues other than the ones you hear on these tapes. So I still call them tapes. Anyway, so a rattle, a dumbbell-shaped, thing, that would need a grain of wheat light, and I need to find my source of those. I had one here, maybe on this podcast with a tiny little switch. I can't find it, along with the mystery projector. That's still missing, but I have not yet started in on the bags of stuff in the barn. That's the next phase of the cleanup out back. I didn't do anything else on the outdoor location yesterday. Well, actually, I picked 2 tentative trees to hang the gate on, and I dragged the gate over. But there's big rain in the forecast tomorrow, so it's probably not going to go any further right now. So I am working. What would be I did make a model. I forgot to mention this. I don't know if anyone's ever seen a picture of it. I did make a model of a planetarium with one of these dumbbell-shaped rattles. And I remember just taking little rectangles of cardboard, white cardboard. I just bent them in half, and those were my seats. Where else are you going to get 50 tiny fake model seats? So I've been working on that. So if anybody has any ideas there, because I do want, even if it doesn't work, or even if I put star holes in and backlight them, I would love to make a model. I'll say one more thing. We've got one of these old-fashioned round nutcracker things we had for Christmas. It doesn't work anymore. I blew it out one year, hooking the wrong AC adapter to it. So it no longer lights up and turns. But if I could cut that off, if I could put a dome on top of that with the ballerinas dancing and the nutcracker scenes, that would be a beautiful Christmas. It still is a Christmas decoration, but just doesn't work anymore. But if I could add stars to that, adding stars to what you got, that goes back to my final episode of Phase 1, 165.18, where if you look at anything and instinctively want to add stars to it, you might be a home planetarian. I think you are. Well, I'm looking at you, and I say, I see it in you. Or something. Maybe it's just these glasses need cleaning. Hang out. We're glad you're here.